In this video, we're going to cover two essential questions. The first one is, how do I identify the net of a cube? And the second one is, how do I find the surface area of a cube? So in our last two videos, we were talking about rectangular prisms. Today's lesson, we're going to focus on cubes. And a cube is actually a type of rectangular prism. And you're probably thinking, how is that possible? Well, think about it. A cube is made up of squares, 6 squares. And think about what a rectangle is. You know, a rectangle has two pairs of parallel congruent sides with 90-degree angles. And guess what? So does a square. That's why a square is actually a type of rectangle, hence why we can say a cube is a type of rectangular prism. So a cube is a rectangular prism with 6 congruent square faces. What we're going to do on page 147 is we're going to put a check mark next to each net that's going to fold up to form a cube. And then we have to fix the other nets that will not form a cube. Now, something you want to remember, just like we did with rectangular prisms, is that you need to have 6 faces, except obviously they're all going to be, congruent square faces. You want to have 4 faces that are in a row, and then you want to have 2 faces on opposite sides of that row. So take a look at 20 and 21 on page 147. In this case, number 20 seems to fit our criteria. We have 6 square faces, and we have 4 faces in a row, and then we have 2 faces on opposite sides of that row. So I would say number 20 is definitely a cube, or will fold up into a cube. Let's look at number 21. Right away, number 21, you can see it does not have 6 faces. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 square faces. That means we're missing a face. Number 21 is not going to form a cube. However, the directions say we have to fix the other nets to make them form a cube. That means we need another square face. Remember, with our bullet points over here, we need to have one more face. We need to have 4 faces in a row, which we've already gotten. We've already got those 4 square faces in a row. Now we just need 2 faces on opposite sides of that row. So I might maybe put another square face over here. That would, turn it into a cube. Or maybe I want to put it here. That would also turn it into a cube. Or maybe I want to put it here. There's another way to make a cube. Or last, maybe I can put it here. That would also form a cube. As long as you have 2 faces on opposite sides of the 4 squares in a row, you will make a cube. So you get to decide where you want to put that 6th face. Alright, now let's talk about, relating the net back to the cube, and we're going to be finding surface area. It says the net on the left forms the rectangular prism, or cube, on the right. Fill in the missing dimensions. Then find the area of a face and the surface area of each cube. Well, obviously, if this is a cube, every edge, every side is going to be exactly the same. So if this is 1.5, I know this is going to be 1.5, and this one, and this one, and that one. They're all going to be 1.5 inch side lengths. So what I want to do first is I want to find the area of just one face. I know that there's 6 faces, but let's find the area of just one. So that means I have to find the area of one square. I have to do 1.5 inches times 1.5 inches. So 1.5 times 1.5. Well, first I need to turn that into an improper fraction. That gives me 3 over 2 times 3 over 2, which is going to give me 9/4. And of course I have to turn 9/4 into a mixed number. I could write 9/4 inches squared, or 4 goes in the 9 2 whole times with 1/4 left over. So the area of one face is 9/4 square inches, or 2 1/4 square inches. Now, notice I kind of left the 9/4 as a possible answer. And the reason I did that is because that's just the area of one face. We still have, a total of 5 other faces in there. We've got 6 faces altogether. That was just one of them. What I can do next to find the surface area of the whole cube is to find the area of all 6 faces together. Now I could do 2 1/4 plus 2 1/4 plus 2 1/4 and keep going until I add up all 6 faces. Or one of the easiest ways might be to just multiply by 6. If you have 6 faces and each face is 2 1/4 square inches, I could get my surface area that way, which 6 becomes 6 over 1, and 2 1/4, remember that was 9/4? Now I have to do 6 over 1 times 9/4. That's going to give me 54/4. And then I have to turn that back into a mixed number. And let's see, 4 goes into 54 13 times with 2/4 left over, which becomes 13 1/2 square inches. So first you find the area of one face, and then times it by 6, and you'll have all 6 faces. Let's do one more for practice. Let's look at number 28. This is on page 148. Let's see, we're going to find the surface area of this cube here where we have a face edge of 1 1/3 yards. So first I'm going to find the area of just one face. So I'm going to have to do 1 1/3 times 1 1/3, side times side. That would be 4/3 times 4/3, because I have to turn them into improper fractions before I multiply. And of course 4 times 4 is 16, 3 times 3 is 9, so now I have 16/9, and that means, now I could turn that back into a mixed number, but I think I'm going to leave it as an improper fraction. And the reason I'm going to leave it as an improper fraction is because I'm not done multiplying yet. That's just the area of one face. One face is, I almost wrote inches, yards, 16/9 yards squared. But if I have 6 faces, I'm going to have to take that 16/9 and times it by 6, because obviously I have 6 faces. So first I'm going to do 16/9 times 6 over 1. Okay, 16 times 6 is going to give me 96, and 9 times 1 is 9, and now I have to turn that back into a mixed number. So 96/9, let's see, 9 goes into 96 10 times, that's going to give me 90 with 6/9 left over, and when I simplify that I'm going to have 10 2/3 yards squared. So again, find the area of one face and then times it by 6 and you'll have all 6 faces. So let's apply that idea here. On workbook page 148 at the bottom, how can you find the surface area of any cube? Well, a couple ways. First, one, you could, find the area of each face and add them up. Or 2, find the area of one face and times by 6. So looking at number 31, use that cube at the right to write an expression to show how you can find the surface area of any cube. Well, it looks like they're using S to talk about the side length or the edge length. So I would have to do side times side, also known as side squared, just so you remember that, side times side, to find the area of one face. But then I would have to times that by 6 to get the area of all 6 faces. So side squared times 6. Or you could write it as 6 side squared, 6 times side squared. Take a look at your formula sheet. If you look underneath the cube, you can see that exact same formula for surface area. You have to do 6 times side squared. So side squared is obviously going to give you the area of one face, but you're timesing it by 6 to get the area of all 6 faces. And time for the takeaways. First, keep in mind that the net of a cube must have 6 congruent square faces. You're going to have 4 square faces in a row and then 2 square faces on opposite sides of the row. And remember, to find the surface area of a cube, you can find the area of each face and add them all together, or it's a little bit easier to just use the formula here because you just have to find the area of one face and then times it by 6.